President Donald Trump and APO's fired national security advisor will refuse to hand over files to a Senate panel probing alleged Russian political meddling. According to U.S. media, Michael Flynn plans to invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. The Senate Intelligence Committee is investigating possible links between the Trump campaign and Kremlin. Mr. Flynn left in February after it emerged he lied about the nature of his contacts with the Russian ambassador. The committee issued a subpoena, a legal summons, 2 weeks ago to obtain the documents. The FBI and 2 congressional committees are investigating claims that Russian hackers tried to help Mr. Trump win last November and APO's presidential election, and that members of his election campaign colluded with the alleged Kremlin conspiracy. Flynn and APO's lawyer has previously demanded immunity from unfair prosecution in order to cooperate with the committee. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects Americans from being legally compelled to testify against themselves in a criminal case. Last week, the COMMITTE and APO's chairman Senator Richard Burr told reporters that Mr. Flynn was not cooperating with the investigation, adding that they had not received of definitive answer on whether he would testify. Mr. Flynn is also being investigated by the Department of Defense after it was revealed that he received payments from Russia and Turkey shortly after leaving the Pentagon. Former Acting Attorney General Sally Yates testified to senators earlier this month that she had warned the White House 18 days before he was fired that Mr. Flynn was vulnerable to Russian blackmail. The Russians had over the ex-national security advisor, Mrs. Yates testified, adding that her concerns were of a legal nature and were not simply of trust issue between the president and his staff. Mr. Flynn has been accused of discussing lifting U.S. sanctions on Russia during his conversation with MOSCOW and APO's envoy Sergei Kislyak before Mr. Trump took office. Mr. Trump injected a sense of urgency to the Senate investigation after he met the Russian ambassador and foreign minister in the White House. The U.S. president said in that meeting that he fired the FBI director because he was of real not job adding that his dismissal eased a great pressure because of our USSIA the New York Times reported. During the Oval Office meeting, which U.S. media were not invited to cover, Mr. Trump also reportedly divulged secret information on the military campaign against so-called Islamic State. Israel was reportedly the source of that sensitive intelligence. But while traveling in Israel on Monday, Mr. Trump told reporters 4 times that he never mentioned the word Israel in his meeting with Russian officials. Mr. Flynn is also at the center of an FBI investigation into possible collusion between the Trump presidential campaign and Russia. Former FBI Director Robert Mueller was appointed last week to lead the FBI investigation following Mr. Trump and APO's firing of the law enforcement agency and APO's director, James Comey. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has been forced to recuse himself from that investigation after he neglected to tell senators about his meeting with Mr. Kislyak during his confirmation hearings. If Mr. Flynn continues to refuse to comply with Senate investigators, it is thought they could vote to hold him in contempt of Congress or even refer his case for possible criminal charges.